This week, on the first Etc. Style Swap, BuzzFeed Unsolved edition, we will be going over one of the most mischievous and arguably most well-documented and studied cryptids. Are you ready, Shawn?
Oh shit, I gotta figure a napkin, but yeah.
Are you ready, Shawn?
Riley, I have never been more ready in my life.
I'm so glad. I cannot wait. Okay, let's get into it. At around 8 p.m. on September 23rd.
Sorry, continue.
Wait! Holy shit! We're recording this on the day it happened!
Are you for real?
I'm serious!
Let's go.
It's the, how long ago was 1979? How many years?
43 years ago.
Holy shit! We're doing this on the 43-year-old anniversary. This is insane. That was not planned.
Okay, yeah.
Alright.
I actually do have a quick question for you, though. Did you mean to say October? Because you said September.
Huh.
It's October. But you said you said today was the anniversary.
Yeah, that's because I'm illiterate. At around 8 p.m. on September 23rd, 1979, at least 6 kids between the ages of 8 to 10 were out in Wollaton Park. It was getting dark, and the adventurous kids found themselves in a muddy, swampy area. It was there that they heard the sounds of bells ringing, and according to some sources, saw glowing eyes looking at them from the bushes and further from the tops of trees. Then, revealing themselves, it was seen that the eyes and the sounds belonged to none other than gnomes. Exiting the obscurity of the foliage, about 60 gnomes were in front of the kids. They were small, up to about one of the 10-year-old's waists, and in the darkness they could see that they had long beards, pointy hats, wore overalls with yellow patches, and surprisingly had what looked to be cars.
They had cars.
Oh
my god.
Cars!
Do you think they function like clown cars?
I think so.
I hope they do.
Well, listen to this, because there's more details on those cars.
Wait, question first, just for clarification.
Yeah.
Were they, like, animated, or were they just, like, actual gnome statues? Do we know?
I'm talking about real-life moving gnomes.
Like little people gnomes?
Yeah, like, gnomes.
Are they just like, tiny? Like, are they just, like, they look like tiny people that are gnomes?
Yes.
Or are they, like, are they just the statues that move like weeping angels in Doctor Who?
No, this isn't about weeping angels. These are actual gnomes. This is a true story. Like, this is, like, a true testimony.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but no, there's more evidence. Don't even worry about it. Ranging in colors, the cars had triangular headlights, no audible engines, and 2 seats, making there 30 in total.
The headlights match their hats.
The gnomes said nothing. They only smiled and joyfully laughed and chased the children. The kids recounted that there seemed to be no malice.
Pause.
Gnomes. Yeah.
Gnome malice. Okay, continue.
Alright, well, thank you for watching, everybody. The kids recounted that there seemed to be no malice, and not all of them were scared. It was more of a game to them than anything, and the kids played it somewhat. They ran in the cars following at notably high speeds, jumping over logs and obstacles. During one of the kids fell into the mud. Also, I'll add, so later you're gonna hear, but the kids were actually interviewed, and everyone kept talking about the kid who fell into the mud, and they were just giving him shit. It was really funny. The kids ran and left the swamp. Now out into the park and less in the cover of the plants, the gnomes actually still followed in the cars. They tailed the kids all the way to the street outside the park's limits, stopping at the street lights. Understandably, the kids talked about what they had seen the next day at school, and as word spread, the story became a news story. But this encounter is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Wollaton Park gnomes. More on that in a sec.
Of course this is in fucking England.
Yeah.
By the way, when I just said.
Yeah.
Do you think the gnomes have British accents?
The gnomes have never been reported to speak, but I think their laughs do have British accents.
How do you laugh like a Brit?
Oh, that was good. What's that
like
one?
The Queen from Deltarune.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like it's like, in it, you know.
Oh, bruv.
Let's get into the theories of what happened. For the first theory, gnomes really do live in Wollaton Park. As the playground talk reached adult ears, the headmaster of the kids' school heard what had been going on and actually decided to question the kids further. He interviewed them separately, asking them to recall the events, and these interviews were actually recorded. While I couldn't find the audio, transcripts are easily available. In these transcripts, the kids' accounts mostly line up, and all kids insist on what they saw. In one of the interviews, the headmaster asked, quote, "You've no doubts at all that what you saw was little men in cars?" End quote. And softly, and perhaps shyly, the child responded, quote, "No," end quote. As hinted at earlier, this is not the only sighting of these gnomes in the park. It's not just these kids, and even it's not just in cars. One person recounts a relative story. Quote, "My Aunt Alma was a very respectable lady who lived in a large house on the embankment. She was a very rational person and would politely laugh at any suggestion of the supernatural. However, she once recalled to us at a family gathering a memory about a trip she made to Wellington Park as a child in the 1930s with a friend. They were enjoying a picnic by the lake when they noticed, in her words, little people no taller than a doll that cautiously appeared from out of the bushes, all dressed in fancy clothes."
She
Fancy
claimed
clothes?
fancy clothes.
Oh my god. Do you think
There's
they're going to like a gnome banquet?
oh my god.
She claimed to have watched them go across the lake on a tiny boat and disappear into the bushes on the other side. To be honest, we joked about it after she had left, but it always struck me that she had no need to lie or make up such a story as it was totally out of character for her, end quote. And there's even more. This same speaker talked about how his friend and his girlfriend, all adults, actually saw the same thing. When he asked her about their vacation to the area, they said it was, quote, "lovely except for the weird experience we had when we saw some Lilliputian-type people by the lake." At this point, his girlfriend actually began to look a bit embarrassed and swore blind that she'd seen these little people, all dressed in waistcoats, pretty dresses, and all wearing hats, end quote.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
This shocked the man, and when he asked details about it that he got from his aunt's story, they matched up. The gnomes disappeared and emerged from the bushes, just like in his aunt's story, and I add, just like the kids. Reflecting on this, the man said, quote, "To think that both incidences happened nearly 60 years apart and the people who told me had never even met or heard of each other, it really does make me believe that there's a large amount of truth in there," end quote.
Okay, can I interject with a 1.5 theory?
Of course.
Can it I feel like it was just some like dumb teenager in the 30s or something
Mhm.
that pulled a little prank or whatever. And then just kept it going.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, gnomes are part of folklore there. So, like, this has, like, honestly, like, centuries of background.
True, I guess actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, be respectful to the gnomes, please.
Apologies.
Respect their legacy.
There are many more stories like this, and even more stories of other creatures being seen in this park. One expert saw a boggart in the park in 1967 and notes that twinkling lights or orbs in the trees are commonly seen. He also goes on to say, quote, "My investigation had enabled me to establish that there are direct correlations between the WPG, Wollaton Park Gnomes, and my boggart encounter. Both had taken place at the same time of year, at the same time of day, with similar atmospheric conditions. In comparing the sites, both incidents had occurred on the land formerly belonging to the Willoughby estate. I remember thinking at the time that, given the Willoughbys' involvement in coal mining, a sighting of gnomes on what was formerly their land was most appropriate." Making further comparisons, the site of both encounters are found to be close in locations noted for traditional or historic hauntings, end quote. He even goes on further, saying, quote, "The site of the WPG encounter is not a particularly special place in terms of the park itself, but when we consider the wider landscape, it appears as just one of many places where strange events have taken place. Within a few square miles of the park are an exceptional number of sites of interest to the folklorist. These include the enigmatic Hemlock Stone, where tales of giants, goblins, and the devil abound," end quote. What does this mean for Wellington Park? It's hard to say. But one thing is for sure, something is special about it and its surroundings, and that just might include gnomes. If it does, then as one of my favorite quotes says, quote, "We are also to accept the fact that fairies, in this case gnomes, have over the centuries been able to make technical advancements in the form of vehicles," end quote. That is, if all these accounts are to be believed. With that caveat, let's move on to the next theory.
Absolutely. I
Is
love nothing more.
thank God. Yeah, you better. The second theory.
Wha-
It is definitely possible that the kids were lying. Kids make up stories all the time. At the end of the interviews, the headmaster taped some of his own thoughts. He said, quote, "Two points that could be made about the tape. The first one is that the references AP, one of the children, made to the little men being in trees which the other children do not refer to on the tape. Subsequently, in an interview with the Evening Post, that the other two independently, and as far as could make out, without any convenience, in fact mentioned that they had seen them in the trees in the context of another question, and so in a sense, I think that was probably confirmed by what the children had said, but isn't recorded on tape here. The second thing is that there is an inconsistency over the color of the beards. Two of the children maintain quite staunchly that in fact the beards were white with a red tip, and AP speaks of it as being black, and that inconsistency is not reconciled anywhere," end quote.
Red
Black.
tip?
A red tip. Like,
I don't like that.
like the Kool-Aid dip dye, you know?
Hot hues.
Oh my
Um,
god! I forgot about those!
The gnomes stole the hot hues from kids. But the other one said that their beards were black.
Yeah, he said,
Like, kids from the same encounter said their beard colors were different?
yes. But it was dark.
Okay, but how can you mistake black with white? Peace and love.
Maybe it was a dark gray, and that dude probably had mud in his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
He's
kid
one
that
ate
fell
shit.
is saying it's black, so.
And what color were the trees that day? Black.
Actually, I only see black, guys. Guys, I'm blind right now, guys.
Unknown detail of AP is that he's blind.
Adding more salt to the wound, when a researcher on this topic reached out to hear anything about these kids, they received a message from a man saying, quote, Patrick was one of the lads I knew in Radford.
Pause. Patrick was one of the lads I knew in Radford. You gotta do it in the
Because it's a quote. Yeah.
He was a few years younger than me. I worked with him in the mid-80s. I remembered the story about the gnomes, so I asked him about it. He told me it was all Angela's, a friend of his, idea, and that they made it all up. Later, he also adds on, saying, quote, the last I heard of Patrick was that he was in prison, but that was about 25 years ago, end quote.
So, I don't really know. I felt like that was important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty credible.
Yeah.
Can this information be trusted? Is Patrick truly one of the children, and did he really know the truth? It's hard to say whether the kid's account is true, but the other stories are hard to dismiss. Why would they lie about that? How would details of these sightings match up? It's possible that these kids, knowing there were gnomes in the park, made up the story of their encounter based on other genuine ones they had heard of.
So that's kind of what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that
I win.
this isn't a competition.
Yes, it is.
Damn. Get your trophy, I guess.
Well, no, I don't want it.
And I'm taking it. I don't know.
Finally, for Theory 3, it's just all bullshit.
There are no gnomes, because we're non-believers and fucking losers.
There are no gnomes, there is no Easter Bunny, and there is no Queen of England!
There are no gnomes in Wollaton Park, and no fairies for that matter. It's possible that all these people are lying or drawing off old folklore to have a fun story to tell. As for the lights, the aforementioned expert points to a possibly scientific explanation, saying, quote, an explanation is given by Paul Deroux in his book Earth Lights. In this work, he suggests that Earth lights raw faults in the rock strata. These faults generate or cause changes in the Earth's electromagnetic field.
Shut up! Boo! Tomato. Boo!
Under the right phenomena, strange lights and orbs like those which accompany the WPG and my book encounter occur at sites above natural conditions. These forces produce the unexplained phenomena witnessed at the sites. Deroux uses my account of my booger encounter as an example of the phenomena occurring above faults in the Wollaton coal field. This same coal field, exploited by the Willoughbys, extends under Wollaton Park. End quote. Could this account for the lights seen at the park and possibly the sounds, though it might be a stretch that just may be more reasonable than gnomes?
Okay, so here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
I think the thought of it being like a ghost manifestation makes sense.
Okay.
Like, that makes sense to me, especially if the coal mine rides underneath it. The strata shit, get out of here. Go home. You're not welcome. That's not real.
Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid. I would be more apt to believe that all of those people that have these stories had just taken hallucinogenic mushrooms from the ground of the fucking forest than I would sooner believe that it was a differentiation in the electromagnetic field of the earth because of a rock strata. Fuck you. That is ridiculous.
I will say, anytime like in these types of stories or like these type of theories bring up electromagnetism, like you're done. Shut the fuck up.
No, okay, because I think a lot of people who are like non-believers in ghosts and shit try to bring up the electromagnetic thing because that's how a lot of people look at ghosts.
Yeah, it's dumb as hell.
You guys are dumb. You guys are dumb and you get no bitches. Fuck off.
Damn.
Okay. I think
Mm-hmm.
they were probably ghosts.
So
That's all I'm giving you.
are you saying that you think that they weren't gnomes, they were ghosts?
Yes.
Okay.
No, like ghosts that look like gnomes.
Gnome ghosts? Why would a ghost look like a gnome?
I don't know. Choice.
Do you think ghosts have like the Sims customizer?
They're in like eternal limbo, dude. I think they're just gonna appear however the fuck they want at that point.
But what about the cars? Are they ghost cars?
No, I think the cars are real. I think they're like Chevron cars.
You think they're like possessing the cars? That's why you can't hear the engine.
Exactly, because they're not on. No, even better. They don't even have engines. They're like Flintstone cars.
I like to think it's like the kids' toy cars, you know, the ones like the red ones.
Oh, the Fisher Price, like ones with the yellow roof.
Yeah. There's drawings of the cars I'll show with you in a second.
Oh my god, please show me.
Do you want to see them right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my fucking god.
They're good.
Oh my god.
They're good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That's exactly what I thought they'd look like.
Good.
Are there gnomes in Wollaton Park? Are there even more cryptids and fairies there just under our noses? As to the question of what actually happened on that fateful September night, if anything, we can't really know without the ones involved coming forward. And as Simon Young puts it, quote, "There is a much discussed right to be forgotten on the internet. Why should this not extend to gnome experiences?" End quote. Which, in other words, means that the case of the Wollaton Park gnomes will, and maybe should, remain unsolved.
Oh wow, that was beautiful.
That was good. Yeah.
That's also what you look like.
I'm gonna kill you. I was waiting for that. This entire goddamn time, I was waiting for you to say that I'm gonna. I was waiting.
Hey, I can't resist it. When you're 4'11", I can't not make a short joke.